Hello, this is Bill Beckham at Franchise Clarity, and today I just wanted to do something a little bit different on this podcast. I'm sitting out here; it's a beautiful summer day in Cincinnati, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about why Franchise Clarity exists. See, recently I saw a LinkedIn post from a franchise professional, and what that franchise professional was basically saying was that franchises fail because of the owner, the franchise owner or franchisee. In essence, the argument was this that a number of people get into franchising and they don't really understand what it takes. They don't understand that it is a small business and they have to put the blood, sweat, and tears in to make it work. It's just not going to happen automatically for you. And they made a special point to talk about corporate execs who get into franchising. It's like, well, you worked in a corporation, you had everything done for you, and now you're in the real world, and that's why it failed. And even saying that the franchisor needs to do a better job at qualifying franchisees to make sure that they really have what it takes. And, I said when I read it, there is some truth to that, right? There is some truth that some businesses fail, whether it's a franchise or a startup, because the owner just doesn't really have what it takes and doesn't understand what it takes. But what I really thought when I read it is maybe that's partially true, but it's really missing the mark. And this is what's wrong with the franchise industry. It doesn't take responsibility for the bad players, right? You have brokers, you have franchisors, and even some successful franchisees that really want to throw the blame on the owner. Now, I've spoken to countless owners over time. A lot of them are successful, because clearly franchising can work because there are a lot of successful franchises out there. However, I've also talked to a number of owners that have had issues, who have gone out of business, who have struggled. And yes, it is a small business. There were some things that maybe they could have done differently, or it was just, hey, bad luck, bad location, bad timing, etc. But I want to dispel the notion that many of these owners were not qualified, not willing to put in the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears. The fact is that everybody I've talked to, they're all smart. They were all successful in various aspects of life, whether it was corporate, blue collar, civic, whatever it was. They were all smart. They were all successful. They were all willing to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and many of them had, and their business still struggled or failed. Now, this gets to my point. Not all franchises, not all franchisors are on the level. The industry is really like the Wild West. And here's what I'm talking about. The people that I spoke to all talked about seeing the franchise disclosure document, or FDD. And I've talked about this in other podcasts and blogs. And essentially what the FDD is, it's a big document. It could be 200 pages or more. And the key thing is it says disclosure. And it's required by the government. Every franchisor, every business that wants to sell a franchise has to prepare and issue a franchise disclosure document. It has all kinds of information in there. It has information about the owners and principals and top executives in the company. It has anything or discussion on legal disputes that the franchisor may have been involved in. It lays out the rules and requirements that the franchisor will impose on franchisees. It talks about what the franchisees' rights are. It has the financial performance, or some measure of financial performance, from the franchises in its network. It will have the financial performance of the franchisor in general, and on and on and on and on. So it's easy to look at that document and say, Since it's required by the Federal Trade Commission, it says disclosure, it's a legal document, everything is in there. So I can look at that document and also talk to the franchisor, but more importantly, I can look at that document, I can look at the numbers in that document, I can trust what it says, and I can invest based on that document because it's required by the government, right? But see, what most people don't know is that the industry has an overall lack of enforcement. Again, it's the Wild West. The FTC doesn't have the resources to follow up. It's a reactive process, not proactive, meaning a harm has to be done. You have to file a complaint. And then there's thousands of complaints that go unanswered. Or you have to file a lawsuit. And then that can be costly, and then that can be time consuming. So the industry is ripe for bad players to exploit these loopholes and get and operate franchise businesses that have bad models, bad operating models, where it's not possible or very difficult to make a profit. And if they've misrepresented things or whatever, it's like, well, okay, file a complaint, take me to court. Now, again, it's not to say that the whole industry is bad, because I want to make it clear there are franchises that are great. They have great people, great systems, great owners. Everybody's kicking butt and doing what they're supposed to be doing. But you can have 10 good players, but one bad player can wreak havoc. And by I mean wreak havoc, people are putting up money, a lot of money. They're losing money. They file for bankruptcy. They lose their homes, all kinds of trouble. They lose their standing in the community. There's embarrassment, etc. The bad players can really mess things up. So I liken this to lightning, being struck by lightning. And so the reason I'm saying this is that a lot of industry professionals, be it brokers, etc., they will point to, yeah, there's a few bad players, but by and large, everybody's good. Okay. But I had kids that played soccer, and anybody whose kids played sports, baseball, soccer, football, whatever, whenever there was a thunderstorm or a threat of lightning, we had to stop play and leave the field and go to our cars. Why? Well, the odds of any individual being struck by lightning are extremely rare, right? We all know that. So why worry about it? Well, because if you are struck by lightning, the consequences are severe, right? So we protect ourselves whenever there is a thunderstorm, because while the odds may be against it, no one wants to really pay that price, right? Because you could die. Well, in this case, we're not talking about death or anything, but maybe 10, 15, 20 franchises could be good. But do you want to be the one that invests in the one that's bad, and then you've lost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars or more? I would think you don't want that. You want protection. So franchise clarity exists to protect anyone who wants to invest in a franchise from the bad or questionable players. And they are out there. I mean, the statistics will show, when you look at some of the analyses, that up to about 40% of franchises fail within the first 5 years. Again, that's not all because the franchisees were incompetent or not up to it or didn't understand what it took. There are franchises that fail because the business model is not what it should be. And more importantly, there were smart people that invested in a franchise based on what they saw in the franchise disclosure document and said, hey, it sounds like a great thing. I know this. I read it all, and it's required by the government. There is no way that someone would misrepresent things. Well, Unfortunately, you can be wrong. Now, at Franchise Clarity, we know the tricks. We know how to read the franchise disclosure documents and other things and look at it and spot the potential trouble. We know what to look out for. We, in essence, know how to spot the lightning before it hits. So, if you are considering investing in a franchise, check us out. Go to franchiseclarity.net, check out our website, book a free 30-minute introductory call with us so you can find out what we can do for you. We'll talk to you. We'll find out what your story is, what you're interested in, and we'll explain what we can do and how we will protect you from potentially making a decision that you will not be happy with. So once again, there are good franchises, but there are bad ones too. And we will tell you, hey, this is a good one, a good decent risk. This one I don't know about. But check us out, okay? Because our job is to help you make smart franchise investment decisions. Until next time, thank you.